Music business worldwide. They report the music industry is still obsessed with charts, but it's always looking at the right data. And a few weeks ago, I talked about 6ix9ine with the controversy over his song making it on the charts, being number one when it wasn't, because it got trampled on by the likes of Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber with their song Stuck With You. Well, now Ariana Grande, don't worry about that. She'll have a number one song or near number one. Anyway, Ariana Grande will be fine because she has a new song, Rain on Me, that she uh, was featured on with Lady Gaga, which will probably get near number one or could be number one this week on the Billboard Hot 100, where all things might actually happen out. We'll see what happens. So anyway, let's get into the story. So for decades, the charts have been the arbiter of consumer tastes in music. What's selling in CDs days or what's streaming today lubricates the engine of the music industry. The charts drive revenue allocation and help to sort out the winners when it comes to fan appeal. The mainstream is very important. And I think when you have the crossover that's going on right now, people don't realize the whole story about how important the charts are and how out of touch the radio industry is when it comes to the charts because they don't follow along with it. That's the point. The charts drive revenue allocation, and this is the point. Think of the kind of money that radio could be making off of music, but they don't. And for whatever reason, it continues to be the problem. That's what it is. Why would a station like K-Rock be falling apart when they can have new artists that the music labels are helping to filter in, fund, and prop up? But they're not. So when a new album comes out, the radio stations don't get the real bust. Radios are not involved. Radio stations are not involved in the promotion of music. Not as much as it is with streaming or digital sales. They're not helping at all. Not even advertising for them. Not even close. So the charts drive revenue allocation to help to sort out the winners when it comes to fan appeal. Some pundits cite the streaming charts and conclude that the entirety of the United States is listening to hip-hop. If you look at the Spotify Top 50 for any week, and you'll see a list dominated by R&B and hip-hop artists. Not to mention, if you look at the top 200, okay, or top 100 in Spotify, there's a lot of reggaeton artists, a lot of Spanish artists on the lower end of the chart, and country in the same way. Tells you the diversity that we have. Just because we might not have a bigger crowd once or the other, but the mainstream is determined by what Billboard's Hot 100 chart really determines, what it shows. Yet boomers might argue that the last great album was Fleetwood Mac's eponymous release in 1975. And here's what we see. So Nielsen Music published a year-end summary with the wealth of data, the top formats of music and their genres. So this is Nielsen's total share of volume, calculates album sales based on a formula of physical and digital sales. R&B dominates the Nielsen charts, which are published by a sister company, Billboard. So here's the shares right here. R&B is, here's total volume is in the dark blue, on-demand streams in the light blue. And as you can see right there, R&B and hip-hop hold 28% of total volume, 31% of on-demand streams. Rock is second, believe it or not. Pop, third. Country, fourth. Latin, fifth. And everything goes along after that. And if you think of what Spotify features, what Apple features, what Pandora features, you can definitely see what all that's about. Then favorite genres. So total rock makes up 52%. Is that? Oh, 32%, excuse me. 22% is classic rock. Alternative makes up 11%. And then you're looking into the other genres. R&B and hip hop make up 25%. 18% is rap and hip hop, but R&B was included in the other part of the 25. And then R&B makes up 13%. Then you look at 80s and 90s hits, 22%. Country, 19%. Pop or top 40, 15%. Then there's dance, contemporary Christian, classical, and jazz. The way we listen, there's a share of music listening. Music streaming services make up 39%. Radio, look at how far down it goes. Broadcast and streaming, 20%. They had to include streaming because if they only included broadcast, probably would be less than 5%. I'm not kidding about that. Downloads, CD and vinyl, 18%. TV, 9%. MTV could have been much more than that. But, of course, they do have their side channels, and there are other channels you can watch. So, I mean, it's just not on – there's just no platform people really go to. If they're going to stream it, they're going to watch it on YouTube. 7% go to Sirius XM, 7% goes to social media, and that's what you got. Charts are influenced by heavy listeners. So, not surprisingly, heavy listeners who spend 10 or more hours streaming each week are more likely to cite rap and hip hop, their favorite genre. Light streamers prefer 80s and 90s hits and classic rock. Yeah, new music you're going to consume more and listen to a lot more. That makes sense. The preference of light streamers are very similar to those of heavy listeners of music on broadcast AM/FM radio and heavy listeners. But again, radio is dependent upon listenership. They need people to be listening to the station all the time to grab all their advertisers at all different times that they're going to be promoting. But we already see right now that radio's retention is very low. They're not getting the kind of audience they used to before. Not like it was. Not even close. Then genres by segment, heavy streamers. You'll see that for rap and hip hop, it's in the dark blue. Then the next level, the second level there is 80s, 90s hits. Pop top 40 is third. Classic rock fourth. R&B fifth. So heavy streamers. Multitude is rap and hip hop. And then 80s, 90s hits are secondary. You look at heavy broadcast radio. Well, it's going to be dependent on the older formats. The newer formats don't even have it even close. Rap and hip hop, it's in the 20% demographic. 25% goes to 80s and 90s hits. So all the older hits get played. Classic rock the same way. So the older formats do well because you have an older audience that's still adapting to listening on the older format, the older platform. Then R&B's last. And pop, by the way, if you look at the charts across the board for top 40 radio stations, there's only a handful of markets where number one stations are top 40. Otherwise, nobody is. A lot of top 40 stations are on the bottom rung. They're in the top 15, top 20. They might be billing somewhat, but they're not getting the kind of people that were watching before. And that's a big problem. You notice that, right? Pop music is on a downswing right now. And same thing for hip hop. It's not as big as it once was. It's adult contemporary or 80s, 90s hits, as they call it. That's what's dominating right now, or classic rock. There's a problem right there. When when radio is out of touch and they're not reaching the younger market, streaming's taking them over. And they're not even trying to compete. So again, that's why I'm saying radio needs to compete for the younger audience. They're doing nothing to compete for that younger audience at all. And that's what's going on. That's what I got to say about that.